This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome to Silent Witness, the podcast that jumps into the cases that have not yet been solved from the perspective of the victim's family and the victim. We are here to try to figure these cold cases out, and we're looking to our listeners for some help as well. Listen in as Christina and Erica dig into the next case.
Okay, so the next case comes at us from South Texas area.
Okay.
Bernie.
That's the one that looks like Born.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was Born until but it's Bernie.
Somebody from there corrected you?
Yes.
Real sweet?
Yes, very
Sure.
nicely. So Beth Hicks. Beth Hicks was the youngest of three sisters, and their family grew up in Devine, Texas,
Okay.
which is south of San Antonio.
Okay. So super south.
Yes, I think about 40 minutes south from what I looked on the map. It's a real small town.
So it's just like kissing the border.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Real small town at the time, about 3,000. And
Oh, wow. That's cool.
yeah, real small town. Beth was an outgoing, blonde, friendly child. Her sister said that her sister that I talked to, Linda, and her other sister were more reserved,
Okay.
dark-haired. But here comes Beth, blonde, friendly,
Oh.
vibrant,
Okay.
loved fast cars.
Who doesn't?
Well, made friends, made friends and kept them. And that's what she said is that when she made a friend, she would keep up with them and keep in touch with them. And
So she was like the glue. She was like that one friend
Yeah.
that's like the glue for everybody.
yes,
Aw.
and she kept them forever. So
Neat.
just real vivacious. But she went to Stephen F. Austin College, graduated from there, and then got a job as a probation officer in Kendall County.
Okay.
And, her sister says she sort of got it by accident, but she didn't really explain how.
Like being a PO by accident?
Well, yeah. And that's
Okay.
kind of how because I was a PO too.
Yes, ma'am.
And I kind of got it by accident. So,
Was it like y'all were on like one course and then you're like, oh, wait, I'll do this?
yes, because my degree is in history. So,
No way.
Being-
I just assumed it was criminal justice. Look at
No.
that. Look at what assuming gets you. The wrong answer.
and so I just interviewed and didn't even know what a probation officer was.
No way.
So, yeah,
Had
had no clue.
Here, sweet thing.
Yeah.
Come do this.
Okay, you said a few good things. We're going to hire you.
Oh, geez. Okay, so
Anywho.
Beth fell into it.
Yes. And so Beth fell into it, and that's in Kendall County, and that's where Bernie is.
Okay.
That's the county seat in Kendall County. And Kendall County is it's like a suburb of San Antonio, so just a little bit outside of San Antonio.
Okay.
But she loved being a probation officer.
Oh, okay.
Loved the job, had worked there in Kendall County with the sheriff's office. And what a lot of people don't know about probation is that most departments in Texas do not carry guns. McLennan County does. So
that feels like a design flaw.
listen, I don't.
I'm just saying.
I don't know, but McLennan does. So when I
Okay.
worked here in this county, I did.
Did you go through? Sorry, this is
That's
why
fine.
I'm the me. Did y'all go through like academy training?
No,
Okay.
parole does,
Okay.
but probation does not go. We just go through on the job training, and then there's a
Okay.
week of certification training.
Okay.
But to carry a gun, you have to go through TCOL, which is the same
Yeah.
as what police do. So we did have to go through a week of that training, and every year you'd have to qualify. So, and that training is
Like the weapons qualification?
yes.
So you were trained on a weapon, but then you couldn't carry one. Okay, cool.
No.
No.
If you were allowed to
Got that.
carry the weapon, you would go through that training.
Oh, okay.
So
like how
it-
McLennan County is. Okay.
Right. So in the other counties I worked in did not carry. And so when I came here, I went through the training and could carry.
Okay. So Beth was in a county where
That
you
could
cannot.
car-
Can?
You can carry. So she could
Okay.
carry in her county. And so very few counties in Texas actually carry guns. Van Zandt County is another one. I can't think of any more.
That's
But
ironic. Okay.
Yeah, you would think we would be able to, but most counties don't. Okay. So she loved her job. She loved helping people on her caseload. And at the same note, you protect the community and you hold people accountable if they mess up. And so she loved the aspect of helping
Okay.
those that wanted it, but held those that didn't accountable. She was fair.
Good.
But in any job in law enforcement or in corrections or in this field, there's a camaraderie. You tend to be around the same, you work with the same,
Yes.
you can relate a little bit.
Y'all
maybe
have the same morbid sense of humor. It's okay. You can say it.
definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay, much like
We laugh
healthcare.
at the worst stuff, but you
Right.
have to, and that's how you deal.
Well, how else? I was gonna say, how else do you get through all the crap you guys see?
Right.
Yeah.
But she understood problems probationers had,
Mhm.
especially when it came to drugs and alcohol. And, she
Mm.
did her best to get those resources and get people help.
Good. Okay.
She would, from what I've read about her, she would write recommendation letters for jobs, if they wanted it or needed it.
Mhm.
So, she was there to help, but also would hold them accountable.
But she was like an above and beyond kind of person.
Right.
Sounds like. Okay.
Yes, she loved her job. She was friends with everybody in the county, whether they
Mhm.
were the sheriff's office, police, local police department, or
Okay. So going back to how she was as a child, like she
Yeah.
never met anybody who didn't become a friend.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so she was considered a good, fair officer.
Very cool.
Yeah. So back to Beth. Linda said this is what her sister said. I did not. Let's make this clear.
It was gonna be good. It's a sister thing.
No, that she didn't have a whole lot of luck dating.
Oh, well, okay.
She dated, but she had the big 80s hair, according to Linda, and you'll see in some of the pictures. But Beth wanted to get married and have kids.
Okay.
And that was a goal of hers. And she did date, but she didn't have any major long-term relationships. I mean,
Okay.
they may have been long-term. I'm not sure about that. But, anything that would have
Nothing
led.
that clicked.
Yeah, nothing that would have led to marriage.
Okay.
So she began dating a sergeant in the Army.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
No.
My husband was in the Army.
He was, his name was Dwayne Davis,
Okay.
and she met him online. Now, back then,
Yeah, when was this? I didn't even ask.
it was
I'm
around
fired.
2003,
Okay.
2002.
So we're like 20 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Back then, online dating was more taboo.
Yeah. And new. It was kind of new.
And it was very new. And so
Right?
you were didn't tell people.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
I met so-and-so online. You didn't do that like you
Mm-mm.
would today.
Yeah, today it's not a big deal.
So it was more taboo. And,
Sure.
so they went on a few dates.
Okay.
And then he got deployed to the Middle East.
Ugh.
So they wrote each other during his whole deployment. She was big on sending care packages.
Oh.
Always would send care packages.
Nice.
Constantly. So he never wanted for anything. He always got care packages and letters,
Sweet.
and they kept in touch.
Okay.
He came back from his deployment,
Mhm.
and their relationship deepened,
Okay.
and then he proposed.
Aw.
So, I'm not sure exactly when he proposed. I thought I read it was around December of 2003.
Okay.
But so the family finally met him around Christmas, around that time period in late December of
Mhm.
2003. They liked him.
Okay.
He was easy to talk to, according to Linda, and they really liked him
Okay.
in her life, and were accepting of them to be married.
Okay. So was everybody like excited about it?
Yeah, I'm not real
Or-
sure if they were engaged prior to the family meeting or after. I'm not sure the dates when
Okay.
they became engaged.
Okay.
But regardless, the family liked Sergeant Davis. He was engaging and everything, so he bought a ring, proposed. They planned to get married later that summer. in 2004.
Of work? Okay.
Yeah. She had a custom wedding dress made.
Oh.
Was in the process of making other things you would need for a wedding.
Sure.
You know, and planning and all that.
And so excited.
Yeah, of course.
Because
I'm
finally
sure.
it was happening. She found
Right.
somebody.
Yeah, she was in full wedding planning mode.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Through that whole, first part of the year up until summertime.
Okay.
So a short time before her wedding, maybe a month and a half. I'm not real sure when the wedding was scheduled. I think late summer is what I've read.
Okay.
I forgot to ask that. But on June 30th, 2004, it was it was hot. It was Texas, cloudy, very warm. In the 76 degrees at early morning. We know how it is here,
Right. And cloud cover. That was uncomfortable.
Yeah, humid.
Okay.
So she was headed to work, and probation officers, a lot of the counties, most counties have, 10-hour days. So they would work 7 to 6 or, 8 to 7, whichever, and I think that county did that too. So she was headed to work about, a little bit before 7, about 7 o'clock in the morning. She had her gun in her purse. She came outside. Let me back up.
Okay.
She lived in a small mobile home park.
Sure. Okay.
Her sister described it like a horseshoe with maybe 6 other homes.
Oh, okay.
And she drove a truck, I believe. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was on her way to work, and she lived alone.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Oh, so they were engaged, but they weren't living together.
Right.
She was on her own, and he was okay.
Right. And he was stationed in Killeen.
Was he at Hood? Okay.
Fort Hood. Yeah. I know the name's changed now.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, it was Fort Hood. But she was headed out the door, got her truck door open, and she was bludgeoned to death, standing about to get into her car. Her gun was in her purse. Her purse was in the truck.
I knew it was coming, but you still just totally caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so she hadn't even gotten into her vehicle yet.
Right.
Where was her purse?
I believe it was in the vehicle.
God bless it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it was the driver's side or the passenger side, but you know how you open your door to set your stuff in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her gun.
It wasn't like she left it in her vehicle overnight.
No.
Okay, she had set it down and somebody caught her.
Right, because I believe when they found her, the door was open and her purse was in the truck seat. But her gun was holstered in her purse. She wasn't even wearing it. Didn't have time to remove
she was
it.
at home. She probably felt safe enough.
Right.
Ugh.
Right. But she was bludgeoned to death with a large object, like a pipe or a tire iron or something similar. I don't know.
There was nothing found on scene?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't know how many times. I don't know, that detail.
Okay.
But nothing was heard.
What?
Neighbors didn't hear anything. A neighbor did find her a short time later.
Oh.
Outside of her car, but the neighbors didn't hear anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of the neighbors did find her laying beside her truck and called 911.
Oh.
And that's when the investigation began. Detectives arrived on the scene. They found according to one article, fresh pry marks on the door of her home, but nothing was taken.
Okay.
Nothing. No weapon was found.
So are they thinking somebody got her and then they were trying to get in?
No.
Or they think somebody was trying to get in, couldn't, and so just waited for her to come out?
Robbery was ruled out pretty early because nothing was missing. Nothing was missing from her purse. If they were going to rob her, they would have taken her gun out of her purse.
Oh, yeah.
That's worth a lot of money. They would have taken whatever is in her purse. Then they would have gotten in and taken anything inside.
Okay.
So robbery was ruled out pretty quick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she was nice and helping people.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Fun. Yeah. Okay. There was also a fingerprint found at the scene, but they didn't identify it for a while, but they've recently identified it as one of the first responders that were on the scene. A shoe print was also found at the scene, and that has not been identified.
It wasn't one of the first responders? I'm such a brat. I mean, my gosh, why weren't they wearing gloves? Anyway,
I don't know.
moving on. That's not helpful.
No.
Darn it. Okay.
So other than that, there's very little evidence. And when you think of how this crime happened, you're not going to have DNA. You're going to have a tire iron. The DNA that's going to be had is going to be on the suspect because of the blood coming off.
Right.
And if it's, a tire iron or a pipe that's long enough, there's not going to be any DNA transfer.
Right. And there was no
and there was nothing
sweat or hair. There was no physical anything left behind.
And being a little bit away there, that would be hard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you going to find a hair on the ground?
I
mean, it's happened, but
of course. And that could have happened, but it didn't.
So she was just like caught completely by surprise.
Right. And I'm not sure if she was hit from behind or if she saw her attacker. I don't know.
Okay. What do they know? Do they know anything that's like?
Not really.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. But we got a little info.
I know you got a little something at the end here for me.
Of course, when you're investigating a murder, what investigators do is start the closest and span out. Like a circle.
Oh, like physically at the location.
Yeah, so you start with the closest people to the person, you span out.
Okay.
So, of course, everybody was a suspect, including probationers. People on our caseload. So they investigated anybody that they could that she had dealings with currently, over 100.
Over 100. Gosh, that's a lot of people to go through.
And depending on the county, that may have been just our caseload because we had big caseloads, but
Oh, geez.
Anyway.
Okay.
So everybody was a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Davis supposedly was seen on base at Fort Hood in Colleen. So by whom, I don't know.
Okay.
But
he was alibied out. Ish.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Sergeant Davis did help with funeral arrangements. Of course, the family liked him. And then when they got Beth's jewelry back, they returned the engagement ring to him.
Oh, okay.
Which she regrets now, and I'll explain why in a minute.
Okay.
She was also buried in her wedding dress.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So
instead of seeing a wedding with the dress, it was the funeral.
That is heartbreaking. I would, okay.
Yeah.
That's a strong choice.
Yeah. And the family was still, okay with Davis until.
I'm going to say, I'm feeling it.
Until. Bum, bum, bum. So let's shift to him.
Uh-oh.
Let's shift to Mr. Davis, Beth's fiance.
Okay.
Again, he was stationed and living in Fort Hood at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how that relationship as far as commuting, long distance.
Right. I'm like, that's a good distance away from where she was.
And I'm not sure what that looked like.
Okay.
As far as
like how they were able to make it work or when they saw each other, stuff like that.
Right.
Okay.
But Sergeant Davis had a little secret.
Was it another girl?
He was already married.
Shut your face.
Nope, living with his third wife. He was married and living with his third wife.
What a piece.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beth had no idea.
Well, no, she's all happy and planning her wedding.
Right.
What the heck, dudes?
And I'm not sure if Beth knew he had been married previously.
Oh my gosh. But did her sister know, or was that like a complete shock? Nobody knew.
They didn't know.
Well, then I'll bet Beth didn't really know.
No, I don't think she did, and I'll explain why in a second.
Okay. Well, if her sister doesn't know.
Right.
Okay.
But Beth didn't know he was married. She wouldn't have been planning a wedding.
Right? You can't get married to somebody that's already married.
And we'll get the great segue there.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. That is my job.
So in the military, an enlisted person who commits adultery can be court-martialed.
Yes, you sure can.
And punished under military law.
Yeah, you're breaking rules there, buddy.
They can be dishonorably discharged.
In a heartbeat, as they should.
And lose all benefits. And of course, jailed.
Should.
So.
Yeah, that's gross. That's totally not honorable.
Right.
No entitlements for you. No bennies.
Yeah, so there's 3 elements that they would have had to prove. For this is that the soldier must have had sexual intercourse with someone That's not
Just
the
anyone.
wife.
It doesn't
No,
even
no,
have
no,
to
no,
be
no.
Beth.
That's not the wife.
Right.
Second, that the soldier or their partner was married to someone else at the time.
Okay.
Okay. And then the third, that the conduct would cause dishonor, to either their unit
Oh,
or
yeah. Right.
the soldier, whatever.
Or the armed
armed
forces.
forces.
Yeah.
Which sounds like all those met.
Pretty much check.
Now let's.
Well, I mean, we don't know about the first one, but I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's probably fair
It's
to say.
probably safe to assume, but I did not ask. I did not think about that. I just.
Gosh. Could you imagine? Thank God you didn't ask.
No.
That would be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her sister was so lovely. So,
Aw.
and she, but anyway,
You think everybody's lovely. You're cute.
well,
Well, not
I have a
every-
soft spot for victims.
victim
yeah.
families. Yes, you do.
But let's move on to the next crime that we haven't talked about.
What?
Bigamy. Bigamy.
Oh, yeah.
It is a crime in the state of Texas to be married to more than one person.
Yeah.
So an individual is legally married or presents to become legally married, but is already married to somebody else. That's a
Oh.
third-degree felony. That's punishable
Ooh.
2 to 10 years in prison. So that's a felony.
So he had all. Okay, but here's the thing, because I see where you're going. But why not just break up with somebody? Why not just come clean and be like, you know what? I'm a huge steamy pile of you know what, and I already have a wife.
I have a theory.
Hey, okay.
I think Beth was on the verge of finding out
Mm-hmm.
or did and may have said, oh, okay, I'm calling somebody. Maybe.
Okay. I mean, it's possible.
Or was on the verge of finding out and hadn't quite yet, or he was worried about that she will. Now, divorces aren't instantaneously. So he
Right.
did not have time to get a divorce from that third wife
No.
to marry Beth.
No, state of Texas won't even acknowledge it until 60 days after
60
you file.
days, right.
So, hello.
So he's in a little bit of trouble.
He's in a little pickle.
And not only will he lose all his
Probably has
benefits,
a little pickle.
not only will he lose his benefits, his wife will lose benefits.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, because she won't get any of the spousal stuff.
Right.
it's
And dishonorably discharged. That's
not good.
That's worse than being a sex offender
Up
as
there.
far as getting a job.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah. Like once you get out, so you're dishonorably discharged, it's pretty bad.
yeah, I wouldn't want that on my record if I was trying to apply for jobs.
No.
Mm-mm.
But
Wow.
and on top
Okay.
of that, he's looking at a felony that isn't in the military. So he could have potentially been prosecuted for both.
Yes.
Potentially. I don't know.
I don't know how that works. Doesn't military court martial? Well, I don't know.
But I don't know.
If somebody knows, let us know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he could have been punished, state and military, but it would have been different. He would have gotten the adultery thing there and bigamy there, so it wouldn't have been a double jeopardy thing.
I wonder if it would have been like, and we could totally be wrong, but I wonder if it would have been court martial, deal with your punishment there, get kicked out, dishonorable, and then once you've got the dishonorable, oh, look, you're a civilian. Here's your civil trial or whatever. Like, how does that work?
I don't think it matters. I think that if the crime was committed, whether he's a soldier or not, if the crime was committed off base, he could be charged off base. I mean, I had in my previous job dealt with a lot of people in the military maybe would get a DWI. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they didn't commit the crime on base.
Yeah, this is a weird one because
Yeah.
it's kind of both, right? Because
Right.
were they living on post? So his wife was there. Does it say? Do you know?
I don't know. I
Okay.
assume so, but I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Is his wife the one who saw him on hood?
So I don't know. I don't know who saw him on base.
Okay.
But I don't know. But I think you could sneak off a little base. Maybe they think you're on base. Maybe he's just kind of.
20 years ago, I bet you could. Now, I don't think you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because 20 years ago, Fort Hood was really like you could get in and off, on and off that post pretty easy. Now 10 years ago, they changed it a lot, and there were huge gates put up, and things changed a lot. So,
and
not super easy. You got to present your ID card all the time.
And they don't.
I think soldiers know.
Yeah, soldiers know how to get off.
And they know how to help each other around it.
Yeah. And the wife may have been the alibi. I'm not sure. I tried to get some information.
That's dumb. sorry.
The only information I got from the
Button.
sheriff's office when I requested it was we're investigating 2 people.
Ooh. Do they think the wife did it? She also has reasons. But why would... Okay, ladies, kill the husband.
Exactly.
Don't kill anybody. But I mean...
Especially somebody nice. But I don't think... I don't necessarily think she did. I think that she potentially knows something.
Okay.
And we'll come to that at the end. But...
You're just dropping all kinds of breadcrumbs today.
Well,
Okay.
gotta
So
make
they
these
were
listeners.
investigating 2 people, but out of 100, would you call them probationers?
See,
Was it any of them?
No.
Wow.
It is very, very rare a probation. Somebody on probation is going to kill their officer.
That'd be stupid.
It has happened. Most of the time when it's happened, it's been because of mental health issues.
Okay.
It does. You would think, but it doesn't.
It hasn't been like planned out in waiting.
Right. Because we're an extension of the court.
Mhm.
We just do what the court tells us to do. So if they're going to retaliate based on something, we can't do anything. Like I can't make somebody go do this, this, and this without a court saying
They
we
have
agree.
to go do this. Okay.
Right. I can ask them if they want to volunteer and go do it. And if they don't, I'll court order them to. So I wasn't the nicest.
You can say yes or you can say yes.
Yes.
You can say
Either,
yes with a smile or just be pissed off about it.
yes.
Either way, it's getting done.
Don't make me do the paperwork because then it'll be worse.
Yeah.
Just go do it and hush.
I don't think I'd want you to be my PO.
I was not as nice as Beth.
No. You didn't write letters of recommendation? I feel like I bet you did.
That I would have done, but
Would have.
if they made me work and
like
do,
extra, just
like
because they were
the
being
paperwork,
a pain in the butt.
yeah, then
Sure.
Mm-mm.
That's fair.
Gotta
Okay,
go.
so Beth is well loved, good at her job.
Right.
The people who come to her, the probationers, they were all ruled out 100%. That's crazy to me because that's a lot
For the
of
most
people.
part, yeah. I mean, again,
I mean, as much as you
it's
can.
pretty rare that you're going to have a probation officer killed by a probationer.
And you're saying it's like a mental health issue, which to me sounds like in the moment crime. Like in the office, somebody loses it.
Yeah,
Kind of
the
thing.
one case I'm thinking of, it's a
Mhm.
federal case, and he
Mhm.
went to go do a home visit.
Oh,
If they're going to get
okay.
killed, they're going to get killed mostly out in the field.
Oh,
That's the most dangerous when you're going to do home visits.
okay.
Yeah.
Because you're on somebody else's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was at her own home. She
Yeah.
wasn't out in the field doing home visits.
She's just leaving on her way to work.
right.
So
So
what makes you think she knew?
I don't know that she knew or she was coming.
Or
she was
suspected
or she was beginning. It was because he can't follow through on the marriage.
Did
He
he-
knows this.
Oh, well.
If he did it.
Well, he didn't have any problems proposing.
I mean,
Did she meet his family?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know. I would assume so. It seems like I read it in one account that she did, that maybe he had family in Waco, but I don't know.
And but either way,
I don't
nobody
know.
was like, hey, girl,
Right.
he already has a wife.
At the time, no. And it could
What?
just be that she was maybe getting close to knowing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, even if she didn't know, maybe I kind of, my gut is telling me she was on the verge of finding out, or
Okay.
she did find out. I don't have any proof.
Well, and how weird would that be to be in a long-term relationship with somebody, but I'll bet she never stayed at his place,
Right.
which is weird. That'll raise some red flags.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, he must have gotten.
And there probably were a lot of red flags. And when you're in the situation, you don't see it. And especially if, he's a good guy and everybody's telling you they like him
Yeah.
and you want a family and you want to get married.
I know, but now I'm like, okay, but did she meet any of his friends? Because soldiers are tight. And so if she had met, he would be stupid to have introduced her to some of his friends because they would have to be like, hey, you have a wife, dummy. What are you doing?
I kind of think that would be more, hey, we'll just play along, And I don't know when the wife found out. I'm not sure about any of that.
But we do know she found out.
I mean, she had. Yeah, she had to have. It's been published in newspapers.
Oh, okay.
So I would assume.
I mean, like at the time, like
I think it was after the death.
okay,
But I don't know when she found. She may have found out beforehand.
So now, does it have anything out there anywhere about their marriage? Did their marriage come apart?
As from what Linda said, and I don't know how it is today, that they are still married. And I tried to look for marriage certificates and divorce, and I can't find any marriage or divorce. They are still, but they live separately. He lives in another state.
I was gonna say, are they even still in Texas? So he's in another state.
She is.
And she's, oh, you're still here. I'm dying to ask you questions.
Yeah. I could not find her. I tried. I don't think she would have talked, to be honest. So.
That would be like heart-wrenching and so embarrassing and like so angering.
But if they're still legally married today, they're still getting benefits.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who keep those marriages intact for that reason, and there's not murder involved.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I don't know about any kids. I don't know.
Oh, I was wondering about that too.
I don't know if they had any kids or he's had any kids. I don't know about that. Linda,
Wow.
I asked Linda, and she said as far as she knew, like 7 or 10 years ago, he didn't have any, but that, who knows how true. Not saying Linda, but
no, right, him.
Obviously he's a liar. And
right.
So, yeah.
Dude's racking up wives. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to the ladies who married him.
Exactly. But
did any of his other ex-wives come forward?
Not that I have read.
Ladies.
Not that I have read, not that I've known. And I don't know that they necessarily would have known anything about this.
I know, but they know about him. I want to know why they divorced him.
Yeah.
I'm so nosy. I'm like, give us the goods because something's
up there.
Something's off.
Well, I mean, obviously he's a cheater.
Clearly. I know, but like to the point, like that is delusional to get to the point that you are planning a wedding and you know you're married. Like, what are you doing?
You bought a ring. And coming back to that ring, the family said that they regretted giving it back to him because
why?
They wanted to see if it was even real.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. They didn't think it because
double douche.
Once the family found out about him being married, that was it. The family was like, "Peace out. You're done.
Get out."
Yeah.
Oh God, are you kidding? I feel like I might have family members who would have dug a hole. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. And
there's acres in Colorado. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Beth, knowing or not, the sister said she did not know, but there's no way that Beth would have committed bigamy. She would not, because that's a third degree. That's her job.
Yeah, no.
Nothing is worth her job.
And for somebody who's waited so long to find the one.
But there's no way she would have involved in that situation knowingly because, again, that makes her look bad. And probation officers do have to have a stand. Like, you can't do crazy stuff. Like,
no, you can't hold other people to the letter of the law and go out there and break it yourself.
Exactly.
No.
Like, you're gonna go and get a crime. You can't be a probation officer.
Right. No.
So she would not have.
You should be held to a higher standard.
Yes. Yes. And the next question is, could he have gotten off that base and back?
I don't know. I'm Googling. How far? I'm like, I gotta look.
I don't know. I think it's quite a bit. Bernie's near San Antonio.
I'm gonna put in Fort Hood, and it's gonna be like, it's not called that anymore.
I know.
Well, I don't remember what the new Cavazos.
Yeah,
is that it?
Something like that.
Okay.
But while you're doing that, I'm gonna switch to the investigation.
Oh, okay.
So the sheriff's office investigated it, Kendall County Sheriff's Office, and again, I reached out to try to get something, and all I got was, we're investigating 2 people.
Girl, it's only 2.5 hours from the fort to Bernie,
yeah.
So we're looking at like 5 hours round trip.
Right.
If he was on leave or took a day or was in between,
that's
doable.
Could he have gotten off without somebody seeing him and then gotten back on?
20 years ago? Probably.
That's...
I'm going to ask my husband. Like, how hard was it?
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, I think it could be done, to be honest. That's just me.
I think so.
But
not today, maybe, but 20 years ago, yeah.
Right. And, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of this case. That's kind of why I wanted to do it.
Okay.
But, so, Sheriff's Office investigated, came up with nothing. They have not found the weapon anything.
Okay.
Several years later, new sheriff was elected, and they hired a pretty good seasoned investigator,
Okay.
Ernie Lobello, Lobello.
Okay.
He went to work on this case.
Oh, okay.
According to Linda, he traced every vehicle they had. He
Wow.
suspected Davis.
Immediately.
I mean, that's
Makes sense.
and there
Talk
is
about
another
motive.
suspect. There's another
No.
suspect that I'll bring up in just a second, but he ruled out that other suspect, which we'll get into.
Okay.
But, he looked for DNA on Beth's clothes because he
Yeah.
still had that in evidence. He did everything he could to try to find enough to rule, to get a resolution to the case. But there wasn't enough there. And I believe I read somewhere where they had a couple of grand jury things, but I don't know what that could either be, grand jury investigation, because grand jury can do a couple of things other than indict. So I don't know what it was.
So it could have been like permission to go look in another avenue or something like that, or permission.
Yeah, or who knows? And who knows if that's even correct. That was just something I had read about it. But Mr. Ernie retired. So a new deputy took over the case and began to suspect another suspect.
Wow. Okay.
So this guy was a local handyman who lived in the mobile home park.
Oh, okay.
He actually was the one that found the body. So he was a neighbor. The rumor was he had a crush on Beth. And, my thinking in my head is you're not going to kill your crush.
I don't know. What if it's one of those, if I can't have you, nobody can have you kind of things?
I don't know.
I'm like, Christina's making faces like, nope, that's not
I mean, I can understand that. And in the cases I've dealt with in court, I've seen that. That's mostly when you're going to have an intimate relationship and then you break up. That's not always.
But
Not
what
always.
if he had it in his head? What
And
if
he
in
may
his
have.
head
He may have.
they were in love and she was cheating on him?
Right. No. And that could be. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm just saying that.
Well, what happened as they looked into him?
So Ernie investigated him and ruled him out.
Oh, that's who he ruled out.
That's who he ruled out. But the
But
new
then
deputy.
the new deputy was like, oh, I think it's the handyman.
Yeah.
Isn't it always the handyman?
And they're going to look at him because he found the body.
Right.
But, again, Ernie did such an investigation on it that you want to kind of tend to believe his. I'm not saying that this other deputy, I don't
Didn't.
know,
Mhm.
but again.
But Ernie was so meticulous that you're feeling like, I'm going to go with his final say on that.
That's what my gut says.
Okay.
I think somebody that's going to put that much into a case and be that in tune with the family where others have not and won't even communicate with the family, and the family has to drive to Bernie to go even talk to anybody that, and that's what happened prior.
What happened to my daughter? What happened to my sister? Where is this person?
Mm-hmm.
So when you said one of them, was it the newer deputy that had looked at all the vehicles that could have been?
That was Ernie.
That was Ernie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did he find anything in those? Because
no, and and this, I wish I could talk to him.
So no out of the ordinary vehicles.
I mean,
so like a neighbor could make sense because all you have to do is walk over.
It could.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying that there weren't any vehicles in the area. I'm just, one of the newest technologies we're using now on these cases, other than the new DNA and all that, is vehicles now, especially the new ones, have GPS installed in them. And that's how several cases, you can determine your car in park, your window being rolled down. You're starting and turning off and driving.
Computers are scary, man.
So
talk about Big Brother. Yeah.
And so, I can't think of the guy's name. He was just convicted on that in another state.
I don't know.
That attorney that killed his.
Oh, Murdaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the big evidence in his case.
One.
Yeah. That was the big evidence in his case. So that's the newest, other than like Familia DNA and all that. That's one of the newer ones I'm seeing more and more being used. So I'm wondering in my head if that's why, if he was looking, okay, did this car have that technology? Because back then,
20 years ago, no.
right. Back then, no, but some did, but probably not 20 years ago.
Right.
But.
And 20 years ago, small town, I would think, no.
Yeah, and the cameras weren't around as much. Like we all have
Right.
the door cameras and everything. You
Yeah.
know, 20
the
years
backup
ago.
cameras and stuff. I think
Yeah.
they were pretty new then, weren't they? If they
Ye-
came out, they were like on your luxury, you're going to find them
Yeah.
on your Lincolns, on
Yeah,
your Mercedes.
and I'm sure, and I assume that was what he was doing, tracing the vehicles. I could
Okay.
be wrong. I guess in my little brain, I'm hoping that's what it was.
Don't call your brain little.
Well, no, but I'm not an investigator, but I've had like a lot of training at it. So,
Yep.
you know, that's kind of where I think. But, okay.
Ooh. Cars started having backup cameras in 1991.
Oh, okay.
But still, that would have been relatively new. I mean, we're talking like
and
10 years.
are you going to have a recording of that?
Right.
Or is that just in the moment?
Yeah.
But you know, I asked Linda, I said, who do you think did it? And they thought Davis and his wife know something.
Okay. Wait, why was the handyman ruled out?
I don't know.
I just think that's so convenient. Like for Davis to do it, obviously,
Davis has
all
a lot,
the motive.
All the motive. He has a lot to lose.
Yeah.
He is not going to retire.
But it doesn't seem like he cared because he was doing it. He already put that stuff in jeopardy.
And it could be a wife thing got a hold of him and said, I'm not. And that's why I kind of am thinking, well, maybe Beth was getting close to knowing, and I'm going to report you. You're not, you know, you're going to hurt me, buddy.
So together, though, he and his wife were like, actually, you're not going to mess this up for us.
Yeah, and it could be. And we've seen that a lot in other cases. But what I'm thinking, too, is that either Davis got desperate, if he's the one that did it, allegedly. He got desperate and did away with it. And or, as we've seen in other cases, the wife knew about it and is protecting him. There's so much there.
I mean, sorry, lady, but I'm not thinking there's a whole lot of honor here when you're still married to somebody after this comes up. I don't know, man. I don't know your personal situation or her personal situation. Right. Maybe she needs the benefits that she is enjoying. I don't know.
Me either. I don't know.
But that does not make sense to me to still be married to somebody who would do that.
Maybe she was scared. Maybe he was a beater. I don't know. I mean, there could be so many scenarios there. So
nah.
He's
in a whole other state now. If you know something, you should just say it.
And that's where that's where I'm going with all of this. But, you know, talking to Beth's sister, they just are haunted by the fact she must have been so scared.
Oh.
Especially if she saw it. If it was somebody from behind, but
I kind of hope that since nobody heard anything, I mean, I know it was early, but I mean, people would have been getting up and getting ready for school and whatnot, I would think, but there's only like 6,
it's only
you said.
4.
It's just like a few. I'm just saying, I would hope that nobody heard anything because it was so quick. Yeah. There was nothing to hear.
Yeah. And I don't know how many hits. I don't know.
Right. And I don't think you'd hear that. Somebody screaming.
Yeah, you would hear the screaming,
you would hopefully
but
hear.
as far as a hit, who knows?
You might not hear that.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
But
her poor family.
And it's an awful death.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a medical expert. I don't know if it's an instantaneous death or if she laid there a second. I don't know.
Or if she bled out for a real long time. Like
I don't. Yeah, and
we don't
I think
know
it was
the
blunt
details,
force
right?
trauma. I think it was blunt force trauma.
Sure.
But I'm sure there was blood. But you know, I don't know. I don't know the exact cause of death. I think it was blunt force trauma. But
okay.
The family's devastated.
Well,
and and it makes it worse that it's not been solved.
Well, yeah.
Beth's father died, not knowing.
Not knowing, yeah.
Their mom is still alive, but has dementia, so she has no clue about anything, you know, which may be a blessing,
right? In a weird,
way,
in a roundabout way, sure,
right? But the two sisters, they just miss her. They are just they just want justice because again, and I'll say this in every case, you know, Beth's dead. Beth doesn't get to go to the movies. She doesn't get to have kids. She doesn't get to get married. And all that was taken from her. But yet her murderer can go to the movies, drive a car, go to work,
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff.
Yeah.
And, they just really want justice. And they just want somebody to be held accountable.
Were you able to talk to the other sister also, or
No.
just all through Linda? Okay.
I just talked to Linda.
Okay.
But I asked if they had a message for anyone who may know anything.
Okay.
And Linda says, quote, relieve yourself of your guilt and come forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, if the wife knows anything, I want that message to go to her. If she may not, it may be some random crazy person.
Sure. I don't know why, but sure.
Yeah.
I wish you guys could see Christina's face right now. She's like, it is not.
I'm rolling my eyes.
We know exactly. Well, we don't, but whoever it is, yeah.
Right.
Unburden yourself. Come on forward.
Even if you did it, just come forward and let's get this thing solved for Beth. It's coming on 20 years in June. It's 20 years. It's time.
Let the sisters know.
She was a probation officer, which touched me because I was for over 20 years.
Yeah.
I was a probation officer when she was.
Oh, yeah. Huh? Look at that.
So, I could have met her at one of these trainings we always go to. I don't know.
I'm just saying. It's just so... the unsolved ones are so hard. And I'm sure listeners are kind of like, yeah, this stinks. But hopefully somebody will hear this. Maybe even a soldier who was at Hood.
And maybe he was...
and knows more.
Yeah, maybe he heard his friend talking drunk and,
sure.
Come
forward anonymously even.
Exactly, anonymously.
Don't worry about your bennies. Come on, say something. Tell somebody something.
Yeah.
If they can corroborate it in some way.
Because I can promise you the killer will turn on you.
Oh, gosh. Clearly.
In a minute. But there is a pretty hefty reward, too.
Is there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
it's up to $25,000.
Oh, okay.
So I think $5,000 of that is per Crime Stoppers, and then the $20,000 is what the family put up.
Wow, okay.
So, and you can do it anonymously and still claim a reward.
That's crazy.
So
as long as it leads to arrest and conviction?
Indictment, arrest, indictment, conviction, yeah.
Okay.
You can claim the award, the reward. But they just beg that somebody comes forward. Even if you don't think what you know is significant. Oh, this drunk was talking about it and I overheard it. Come forward. They need the witness. They need that one small break. And, whether Davis no longer lives in Texas, from what I understand, the wife still does. Maybe she's divorced by now. I don't know.
We don't. You're right.
I don't know. I don't know anything. I just... Last I heard, she was still living in the Central Texas area.
Ooh, okay.
So, you can call the Kendall County Crime Stoppers at 1-800-348-5323 or KS.
What?
That's
Not
wrong.
KS?
KC.
Oh, that was close. County.
KC-crimestoppers.com.
Okay.
The Texas Rangers also, you can contact their tip lines too. They have the case. They haven't came up with anything different. I said, did anything, change with the Rangers coming in and helping? And she said no. So I'm not at all. Rangers are great. So,
yeah, no, I mean, that's neat that they picked it up and came in and tried to help.
Yeah. And that's where I found the case. And then I started researching and realized, okay, probation officer needs to talk about it.
Yes. No, this is a good one for you to bring forward.
Yeah, because, that just touched me because I was. And, every victim deserves justice, but she does especially.
Because you love her.
I do.
I'm heartbroken that they buried her in her wedding dress.
I know.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. And she loved, Linda said she loved 80s music. She loved Van Halen.
Who doesn't?
Exactly.
Hello.
She said, it was funny. She said, yeah, she loved Van Halen and she liked Sammy Hagar, but she didn't like them together. I said, well, then we would have disagreed because I love them together.
It works out. I was just watching something with him. Anyway.
Yes.
He's got a documentary out right now. But okay, so we have Crime Stopper information. And if you want to know more about this case, listen to it again, or you want to check out some pictures and information that we'll have up, check our social. We are at Silent Witness TX. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. As always, you can listen to us on Rogue Media Network or anywhere where you catch your podcasts. And did we get this one? All right. You know what? We got it in the can, but we're not done. We need you guys to reach out. We need to get justice for Beth. And that is let's help her family figure this out. If you know anything, please come forward.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.